everyone. Welcome to Out and About with Tom and Sherry.
I'm Tom.
I'm Sherry. Well, this next video in our Mediterranean tour, Grand Mediterranean Tour video series is Santorini, Greece. And we're going to do this video a little differently than we have been doing in that we're going to do this little intro, and then we're also going to have a picture-in-picture in the video. So we'll be on the video while you're watching the video.
So it's a new thing,
a new format. Let us know what you think. If you like it this way or you like it the other way. So with us just talking and no video in the picture. So we are going to get started and show you all the sites that we saw in Santorini, Greece. All right, so we actually visited Santorini twice on our Mediterranean Grand Tour because we were on the Norwegian Viva and the Norwegian Epic, and they both went to Santorini.
I think Santorini is a pretty popular cruise ship destination.
Yeah, I think so. I forget how many, like 800 visits in a thing. But anyways, this is the first visit. We arrived just as the sun was coming up. Pretty amazing.
Yep. And I love sunsets and the sunrises and sunsets. And the sunrises in Santorini did not disappoint.
And so this is just the old port where you had to walk up the stairs. But we wanted to show the coming into Santorini on our second arrival and really talk about just the scenery.
But I think for me, the thing that I really enjoyed about Santorini was just the beauty, the natural beauty, the geology, and the sunrises and the sunsets. But it's a giant volcanic caldera, and this island you see here is kind of in the middle of the caldera. So it's basically you're in the opening of a volcano, and the mountains around are the edge rim of the volcano. So, but just absolutely stunning distance.
Yeah, that's why we wanted to include, we're going to have a few minutes here of just us coming in on our second arrival, which was nice because it was around lunchtime or so. So you really got to see it. A little windy, but yeah, it's just you're trying to imagine the space that you're in.
Yeah,
sitting in the middle of this caldera. I wonder how deep the ocean is there. That was one thing I was wondering about. It's super blue.
Yep.
So it is deep.
Yep.
But yeah, it was just the structures and the formations of the pieces of the different little island pieces that were still there were just really neat to see. And there were a lot of people that were on their balconies. We had a balcony room, and this was on the Epic, our second arrival. So a lot of people were on their balconies just taking this in. And Tom noted, you were saying that for us, your first thought is that's snow.
Yeah. I mean, we live in Nevada where there's snow-capped mountains, and it just kind of kept catching my eye as snow-capped mountains here, and it's not. It's whitewashed buildings.
And so we just wanted to pause for a little bit for those of you that like to listen to the ocean. We've got a little over a minute of just ocean sound from our show. the coming in of the port there, and we started to see some jet skis and some sailboats.
Yep.
So some of the excursions that go out to some of these islands for hiking, or if you're going to go sailing or whatnot, this is kind of giving you an idea of where you'll be going out to.
Yep. That island that you can see here was a popular destination for excursions. There was one place where you could get onto the island, and I think that's kind of just to the left of center in the picture there, where there was a bit of a beach, and you could go up there. And kind of as an aside, I've got I guess more than a passing interest in geology, and I know a little bit about geology and geomorphology. So I really enjoyed just looking at the geology and the rock formations and thinking about those.
So here we're getting a little bit closer, and as Tom was mentioning, there are a lot of ships that go to Santorini, so you will not be alone.
No.
I think there were on this one. I think there were like four.
I think four that
Four
day
on
on the
that
second
one?
time we went.
Yeah. So this one coming up, as I recall, was the Norwegian Pearl that we were coming into. But as we come in, you start to see the old port, which is where the tram, the cable car tram is. We'll get a little bit closer. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But it is a tender port, so you have to get on a boat to either go to the old port or go to the other entrance where you can get on the buses for the excursion. So more of that will be coming up in the video.
But you can see the stairway there up above that cruise ship, the little white lines kind of cut diagonally up the hill. And you could do a donkey ride up there, and they didn't recommend that. You could walk up the stairs if you wanted. That wasn't really recommended either. The stairs were kind of slippery.
So it's just amazing to me that people built these houses right on the edge on these cliffs. And here they are. Yes, we went in May, right? So that's when they were having all the earthquakes beforehand, when it was questionable whether we were even going to go to Santorini at that time. But anyway, it's just amazing that they built them there. So here we're finally stopped. And so this was our view of the old port. So people on sailboats and whatnot. But again, you either can get on a tender from the ship over to this old port and walk up the steps, not advised, take the donkeys. I don't think that was advised, right?
No.
Or the cable car. And you can see the cable car in the video there a little to the left. And it was like a minute and a half ride or something.
It was a pretty quick ride.
It was
a real quick ride that kind of delivered you right to the edge of town. And it was interesting. There was plaques around the cable top car terminal up at the top. And I guess probably one of the vendors, kind of a philanthropist type person, saw the need for the cable car. And so they funded
Yeah, that's right.
the construction of the cable car. And they also funded medical transport to get people off the island in case they had a medical emergency, which I don't know, was just kind of touching to me that they cared enough to do that.
So here's a little more close up of that tram. So I think there were, what were there? There were six of us in the little car. And there's 6 cars going up and then 6 cars coming down. So it could be a very long wait, either going up or coming down. So you really got to plan for that in your timing.
Yep.
For getting on and off the ship, unless you're on an excursion and then you're going to be tendered to a different port and where your bus will be.
But yeah, and we waited in line for some amount of time.
At least an hour and a half. About an hour and a half.
But it wasn't, oh man, we're waiting in line for an hour and a half. It was neat, just kind of looking around, looking in stores, talking to people. It wasn't an unpleasant line like lines can be sometimes.
So you can kind of see in here, you kind of see the people walking, and you can kind of see some of the donkeys too that they're riding on.
Yeah.
I can't imagine either one, either walking or riding the donkeys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. You couldn't pay me to do either one of those.
Yep.
So the tender boats, we kind of wanted to show a little bit of those, and so that's coming up here. And then we are going to show too our tender ride. We did have an excursion on our first cruise, and we got on the bus to go on our excursion. So that's coming up too. But you can start to see some of these tender boats that are coming from the old port, kind of coming and going. So over here, so this is where you'd have to go, where that arrow was, to get on the other port to get on the buses. So it was a little bit of a trek over there. Not too bad though.
Yeah.
But you get more of the sense of the geology, I think, in this shot part of the video, where you can kind of see that circle effect. So here are the tender boats that we were on our first cruise that we were going to take over. We were there a little bit earlier, obviously, in the morning. And here we are loaded up.
Here's the view from the tender boat.
And it was a nice day. It wasn't too chilly that first day. So here you see the boat there. So you're going to dock in that spot, and you can kind of see this zigzag going up the mountain. That's the bus route. Lots of edges, which I don't like. So I did not look over the edge.
I don't mind edges, and it was a beautiful ride up there. Just a lot of switchbacks.
Very narrow road. Lots of edges.
Yep.
I was like, oh boy. And this is the view that we saw when we got to the top. So you can again get a sense of being in the center of this caldera.
Yep.
Where the ship was. That's a Virgin.
That's a Virgin
Atlantic.
ship.
And the other one there, the white one, that's our ship. That's the Viva, again, from our first cruise. So we went on our excursion was the Opa excursion on Norwegian.
And it was neat.
Yeah, and we've got some coming up on that too. So this started our tour. We went up to see the all the whitewashed buildings at the top. That's how the tour starts. And there
That's
we are.
us.
So you just they walked us up there. We got to walk around for like, I don't know, what was it, maybe 20 minutes or so.
20, 30 minutes.
And
yep.
the views up there are just amazing. And as you can see, it's a little overcast, so the water looks a little darker. It wasn't as blue as it was on the second time we were there. But just, again, amazing geology and just very scenic.
Yeah. If you want to go to a beautiful place, Santorini would not be a bad choice.
Yeah. And just another view from looking over. And these are a mix of businesses, residences, I think kind of like Airbnbs or little bed and breakfasts and whatnot.
And it was, and it was just, the residences were just packed in there, layered in there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I was looking at them and thinking, how do you even get to some of these places? But obviously there was a way.
Yeah, there were little tiny narrow walkways, but even some you were like, how do you get to that spot?
Yep.
Oh, and there's our tour tag, number 10.
Number 10, we were on tour number 10.
Unfortunately, those tour tags are all over the Mediterranean. So just a really neat view here. The blue capped domes and
Yep.
But there's no empty space. I mean, they're just one on top of the other, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was crowded going to some of these scenic areas. Sherry stayed back on a few of them, and I went over there and took a picture. But it was really just, well, I don't know, we said it 25 times now, but it was absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
And I like that swimming pool, little swimming pool,
Yeah.
hot tub down there. It was just neat.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? Having that with your evening beverage, whatever that may be. So a nice spot. But they were the shops that were there were just, touristy type shops. You could say we were there for about 20, 30 minutes. I think we got to walk around. So lots of the clothing stores, kind of the same ones you see in pretty much all the different ports and whatnot. Some artist galleries and things like that.
And again, what we noticed at a lot of places in the Mediterranean was the cobblestones. And after walking all day on cobblestones, your legs do get a little sore.
Yeah, that's for sure. So as Tom said, after we went to the scenic area, saw the houses and the buildings and the shops and whatnot, got back on the bus and we just kind of drove around to the countryside, so to speak. So this was just an unusual, lots of, again, whitewashed buildings out there, very far spread out, very dry and arid terrain there.
Yeah.
And we didn't get a picture of it, but a lot of vineyards. There were a lot of vineyards too.
Yeah. The tour guide said they used to grow other things on the island, and then somebody started growing grapes, and everybody realized that's where the money was, and that's what they continued to grow was grapes.
But yeah, where these homes are, I mean, it is really spread out. I mean, they nothing like what you see at the top of that cliff hilltop there. Everything was very spread out in terms of the residential areas.
Yeah. The tour guide mentioned there was a couple of generators where they got their power and a desalination plant for fresh water. So I'm sure the crops just depended on rainwater for irrigation and then the desalinated water for drinking.
And just to note, there is some significant walking on this particular excursion. I think it was rated a 3 for challenging.
Yep.
Because you're walking up steps and whatnot. So just a heads up to pay attention to that if that's a concern for you. But it was nice to drive around in the bus and just get different scenic areas. So this was a different area that we went to. Tom went up and hiked up to this church.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I like looking at old churches. And the bells on that one were neat, this little pyramid of bells.
And I was down on the street. Like I say, Tom walked up to the church. I stayed down below. Several of us did, just because there were so many steps, because it was like 100 steps or something, wasn't it, up to there? So again, something to keep in mind. But it was nice to sit down there. There, you could walk over to the little restaurants, get something to drink, while the tour group went up to the church, and then they came back down and picked us up, and then off we went again. And I think after this was when we went to lunch.
Yep.
Included lunch.
Yep.
But just nice little vista shots and things like that with the bougainvilleas all over.
And this picture, this was just a nice sitting area. There was a bench there. I was surprised more people weren't sitting there. It was just, in the shade. It was cool there. It was just a neat spot.
That's where I sat. After I walked and took some other pictures and stuff, because it was a nice little shady area. I think there was a little place you could get ice creams and stuff too. More of that little street view. Again, the streets are very narrow. How those motor coaches drove through there, I have no idea. It was so narrow.
I was impressed by the skill of the motor coach drivers throughout our whole 5 weeks in the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
And that you could see in that last picture too, that ATVs, you could rent little ATVs and ride those around, and a lot of people did that and enjoyed that. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of different excursions, but really it was just a nice place to just go and be and look around.
This shot here was our view from the restaurant, and this was the Opa Celebration restaurant. And we really didn't take any photos or anything in there. Tom got a little clip at the end. It was a buffet lunch, if you're interested. And at the end, they did the plate
Yep.
plate throwing on the ground. They did dancing and everything, so everybody could join in the dancing. So that was kind of fun. And then they did the plate thing. And so we just have a little clip of the plates.
And it was a mom and pop restaurant too. It was a family owned business. That was very clear, and I think they mentioned that. And it was just a neat celebration.
So here's a little clip of the plate throwing. So yeah, just a clip. Yeah. So then we walked over to they drove us to another area. We walked around and we looked at the shops, but again, all the shops are pretty much the same.
Yep.
And we really weren't interested in buying anything. We didn't stop for a meal or anything like that. So we thought we'd focus in on the cable car ride since a lot of people ask about that. So again, we stood in line for about an hour and a half, something like that.
There was plenty to look at and see, so it wasn't like you're just standing in line. The line was a neat experience.
So this is just when you finally get to the entrance. And it was, as people come by, they'd look at you and you go, "Are you the line?" We're like, "Yeah, we're the line. Keep going."
Keep going, yeah.
That happened a lot.
And we had that same experience going to the back of the line. People are, "Nope, keep going.
Keep going. Yeah, you're like, how long is this line? Yeah. So yeah, the line is there. When they talk about the line, it's not a joke. There's the line.
And here you can see the geology real well. It's like you're viewed from kind of the midpoint of, call it the letter C, with the island out in the middle, which is the center of the volcano.
Yeah, Tom walked over while I was standing in line. Tom walked over to get a shot from the cable car area before we got on. So this was the shot he was able to get. So again, too bad it was hazy that day. Yeah. That would have been a very blue ocean, I'm sure.
We are where you get on the cable car.
Oh, there's a cat. Another cat.
You didn't notice that cat before? I like that cat.
So here we go down.
It's a pretty steep ride.
I did not look. Again, I don't like heights or edges, so.
I looked around. I enjoyed it.
And this was interesting. As you got closer to the bottom, I mean, there was just stuff off to the side of where this tram was going down. So these, I guess they're little houses or.
Yeah, doors that pretty much go into the cliff. And there was, I don't know if people lived in those houses, but there was a few houses kind of staggered along the edge of this cliff where it looked like people lived. So
once you get down to the bottom, like I say, it's a pretty quick ride. I think it was like a minute or something.
It's a couple minutes, yeah.
So this is kind of what you see down at the bottom. They've got a couple little shops and whatnot, but it looks just more like a tender port area and equipment and stuff that was there. And it was warm. When we were there, it was warm. So we did have to stand in line to get on the tender to go back to our ship. So it was getting a little warm.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So be sure to bring your hat.
Yeah.
Bring something to drink, so. Yeah. But all the tenders are coming back and forth, taking people left and right, So here are some of the little shops that you can see there. And the different ships have their different areas where you load on. And that's just going back to the view of the tram.
Yep. And I like this picture of the tram because obviously that concrete wall was there before the tram came along. And they just notched the concrete wall to make room
that's right.
for the tram cars to fit through it. It was just, I'm an engineer, so it was just a neat little piece of engineering.
A little close up. Yeah, the 6 cars. Yeah, look at it. Barely clears that thing. They only cut off as much as they needed to.
Yep. And I remember I did the math on it. It was 6. There were 6 people per car and 6 cars, so 36 people per trip.
So this is the walkway up to the top. If you decided to walk or take the donkey ride, just to give you an idea. I don't know how long. I never did hear anybody say how long, the people who did decide to walk, which were few and far between, but how long it took them to get up there. So like I say, we didn't do a lot of shopping in Santorini, so we headed back to the ship and for relaxing And Tom decided he was going to do a short. So if you didn't happen to catch the short, I included it here because we had already been to Cyprus, which we haven't done that video yet.
No.
And he does a little taste test.
Yep.
So we'll let the video play for you. Any other comments on the taste test before I play the video?
I just got that bag of chips because, well, I think we needed change for something. And so I went into the store and I got some water and I looked around. And I'm like, oh, prawn cocktail flavored potato chips. I'll get some of those just because I'd never seen them before.
So the tasting became a short. So like I say, we'll let that play so you can hear that.
The tasting was an event in itself. We kept the bag of chips on the counter in our stateroom for a few days and planned to open them up. And it's the little things sometimes that are fun. And this was one of those times.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to do a tasting of my prawn cocktail flavored Lay's potato chips. I got these chips at the All-American Mini Market in Limassol, Cyprus. So, but today, we're off the coast of the island of Santorini, Greece. So there it is. That's Santorini, Greece. That's the old port of Santorini. It's a tender port, so you have to go kind of easy on it. And but anyways, so there's Santorini. We walked around there today. It's a pretty neat town. A lot of whitewashed buildings. You know, it's funny, coming from Nevada, I kept seeing the white ridges on the mountains, and at first it seemed like it always caught my eye as snow up there, but I think I finally figured it out that it's not. So anyways, there's 3 cruise ships in the area, 3 big ones, and there's a couple you can't see on the other side. So let's see how these chips are. They might either be really good or really bad. Only one way to find out. They got some kind of coating on them. They have a smell, kind of vinegary. Sort of a cross between a barbecue chip and a salt and vinegar. I can't say they're horrible, and I can't say they're great. I don't think I'd buy another bag of them, but I'm glad I bought this bag. So that's the scoop on prawn cocktail flavored Lay's potato chips. Thanks for watching.
So into the evening, back to the just the scenic, amazing views as the sunset came along. So 2 different sunsets we're going to show you. First cruise, second cruise. This one, the first night or the first cruise, was pretty amazing with these sailboats stationed there.
That one is, there was a sailboat cruise ship.
Yeah.
So,
just amazing.
Which was neat. Yeah.
And then the lights of the different towns along the tops of the ridges. This is from deck 8 on the Viva, looking back at the old port. And again, the lights all starting to come on.
The lights are starting to come on. And another shot of that.
That's a postcard
sailboat.
shot right there.
That is. That is. And the lights. That's a postcard shot too. Santorini is a postcard island.
That's true. Probably one of the leading scenic shots in Greece, for sure.
You really can't add to that with words.
And we got back on the ship early, so but I don't think you had to be back on ship until like 9 p.m. or something.
Yeah, the day in Santorini was a long stop.
The first one, yeah, was a long one. The second one was much shorter.
Yeah.
And then this is the sunset on the second cruise. Totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Totally different. You know, and a lot of times you take pictures of sunsets and you don't do them justice. This is an amazing sunset in the pictures, but as I recall, these pictures didn't really capture the whole sunset. They were just spectacular.
And everybody was outside enjoying it. The weather was nice. You know, you could be out there. It wasn't chilly or anything. So, you know, again, especially on deck 8 on the Viva, you could sit out with your drink and whatnot, and nice and quiet. That's one of the great things about deck 8 on the Viva. Just a quiet, relaxing location for evenings like this.
And plenty of room to sit in nice places to sit.
Yeah.
And outdoor dining. And yeah, deck 8 on Viva was something that I've never experienced on a cruise ship before, and it was outstanding. And look at that. Now the water there is not sloped. The camera was crooked, in case you were wondering.
Earthquake. Tilted everything.
And I can tell you that for sure.
So even if you don't decide to get off on Santorini, the views from the ship, because we did not get off on the second cruise.
No.
We stayed on. We really didn't have another excursion that we were interested in doing, so we enjoyed the day on the ship. But just being on the ship, observing the scenery of Santorini was very enjoyable, and obviously lots of footage that we were able to do.
Yeah, I don't know how many times we'd be sitting on the ship and you look out the window and it's just, man, would you look at that? It's just, I could spend a whole day or two just admiring that beauty.
Yeah, it was neat. So anyway, we hope you enjoyed the video, and we have more coming up. I'm not sure what's going to be next. Maybe Rhodes. Should we do Rhodes, Greece? Yeah, maybe we'll do Rhodes.
Or should we do Cyprus to close the loop?
Well, that's right, with the Lay's potato chips.
The Lay's potato chips.
Maybe. I don't think we have a lot from Cyprus. I'll have to look at Cyprus. It may be a really short video.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyways, thanks again for watching. Please, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up or share it with your friends. If you're going on a Mediterranean cruise, we'd love to hear where you're going and when you're going in the comments. So.
And if you've been on a Mediterranean cruise,
yeah, absolutely,
we'd love to hear your experience in the comments.
And we hope you subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I think this is video number 8 in our Grand Mediterranean Tour series, and we have probably 8 more coming up.
Yep.
Still, so yeah, it's been fun. We hope you've enjoyed it. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
And don't stop it yet. We have to add something.
Oh. Ciao?
No, not
that's
ciao.
Italy. That's Italy. You're going to try and speak Greek?
Addio.
Avio.
Thanks for watching. I'm Tio.
Avio. There's no T.
Addio. Addio.
Avio.
Addio.
Avio.
Addio.
We're not sure how you say that. Avio. 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 Thanks for watching. Ciao.